Management Day celebrations 2024 and former Executive Officer Sri Pakarama Swami Temple for the welcome address.
Good evening. Today's chief guest, Dr. V.I. Sayer, Managing Director, Vizhinjam, Sri Rajesh Jha, CEO, Adani Vizhinjam Port and our past president, Sri Sunil Kumar, Project Head, Adani Vizhinjam Port, our Dynamic Secretary, Wing Commander, Darius Srinarayan, other distinguished guests from various organizations, student members, and my dear members. As mentioned now, we are celebrating the National Management Day. The National Management Day is observed during the third week of February every year, coinciding with the Foundation Day of All India Management Association. TMA, which is affiliated to All India Management Association, was established in 1985, and for the past 39 years, TMA has been actively engaged in promotion of various management activities in our capital city. TMA's flagship program or event, TRIMA, the Annual Management Convention, which is a forum for all the management leaders, industrialists, policymakers, government officials, entrepreneurs, and management students for discussing various management business opportunities and related issues. And this drama is considered as one of the best management activities in all over India. This year, drama is scheduled on the month of May, and the theme is One Health, One Life. Today's, as MC has pointed out, today's Management Day celebration started with the walkathon flagged off by our District Commissioner of Police, and the event was well participated by our members and students. Also, the quiz competition for the students of these schools was conducted just now, and I am happy to say that it has been represented by 8 colleges. The main event of today is this session, emerging business opportunities in connection with the commencement of Adani Vizhinjam Port. Dear friends, I will take 1 or 2 minutes for that. Even though the idea of Vizhinjam Port was conceived in 1940 during the time of Maharaja Sri Siddhartha, it took another 50 years for us to take measures to start out this mega project. There were insurmountable challenges against implementation of this project. And many people, including me, thought that this project will never take. Now, Vizhinjam Port has become a reality. After solving many problems with the landowners, other stakeholders of the area, the international competitors, and all those powers who were against this project. Also, the project have to overcome challenges of the faced during the 2017 Oki cyclone, 2018 Kerala flood, 2020 COVID pandemic, and also the other things like shortage of raw materials like stones, other court cases, NGT tribunal cases. In this time, I also remember the name of our past president, Sri Suresh Babu, the then managing director, who has taken a lot of efforts for the implementation of this project. Regarding solving two solution, I too personally have contributed in solving an issue which was pending for 1.5 years. Drawing a 220 kV electrical line from Kartakada to Vizhinjam Port. There were many agitations. and from the landowners regarding the location, the route map, the alignment of this line. And it was my report as the electrical inspector which paved the way for resolving the issue and restarting them. Now, after successful completion of this mega project, the door is open for a huge transshipment market and other related business. It is in this background that TMA has decided to have this session, and I request the business community here to utilize this golden opportunity. Now coming to my duty of welcome. Today's chief guest is a doctor, an author, a classical dancer, and a mentor for IAS aspirants, and a dynamic IAS officer, Dr. Divya Iyer, Managing Director, Vizhinjam International Seaport. She has readily agreed to participate in this meeting and be the chief guest. Madam, Divya Madam, I welcome you in this meeting. Dear friends, for the past 5 years, one gentleman has been systematically working for the successful implementation of this project. He has faced the tremendous pressure and the amount of challenges which I have narrated before. And he was able to solve each one of these issues. A very highly optimistic personality. And I can say that there is no doubt that his efforts have largely contributed for the success of this mega project. That is none other than Sri Rajesh Jha, CEO of Adani and our past president. Sir, I welcome you in this meeting. My good friend and project head of Adani Vizhinjam Port is doing the presentation on business opportunities today. Let me welcome Mr. Sunil Kumar, who is also the past secretary to this meeting. Let me also welcome our dynamic secretary, Wing Commander Rakesh Nair, to this meeting. I also welcome Mr. Mohan Belwai and other distinguished guests from various organizations who has come to attend this session, past president, TMA members, and student members to this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to call upon Wing Commander Rakesh Nair, Secretary TMA, and MD and CEO of Medicaid Ethos Private Limited, Director Nutmeg Products Private Limited, to introduce the chief guest of the day.
Good evening all, and a hearty greetings to all of you on the National Day. Most of us would have done MBA in some part of our life, or even managing our own homes in this various ways. And as the going say, the word goes, that it is forming, stopping, norming, and performing. So that is what is happening here. There was a slight delay, so I apologize on behalf of TMA for the delay, because we had another program upstairs. Past president, distinguished guest on the dais, the chief guest, Dr. Divya Iyer, ladies and gentlemen, students. It is a proud privilege for me today to introduce the chief guest of the day. I have heard about her from none other than Ambassador T.V. Srinivasan. In words that I can't express, because for him, she is an icon of perfection, and therefore whatever I say will be a limited version of whatever he has told me. Dr. Divya Iyer, an Indian bureaucrat and medical doctor, currently serves as the Managing Director of Vizhinjam International Seaport. She joined the Indian Administrative Service in 2014 and has held various significant positions, including District Collector of Pathanamthitta. I believe she got an award also for that, if I'm not wrong. Dr. Iyer played a crucial role in initiatives such as voter awareness campaigns and COVID-19 response efforts. She is also an accomplished author and editor as the president, as the chairperson of Management Day Committee had mentioned. Dr. Iyer's dedication to public service coupled with her medical background and administrative acumen has made her a respected figure in both healthcare and governance sector. That is briefly what I could introduce Dr. Iyer. Apart from that, the two stalwarts that we have here, briefly, though the chairperson had already mentioned about it, I would just briefly touch two lines. Vizhinjam Port is now in its final stages of development, the fruition of decades of dreaming and planning. The stalwarts who are going to speak today have a wealth of experience in managing this transformation, ensuring that a multitude of agencies come together to create the most significant project of our time in the Peninsular India. Thank you so much for agreeing, all of you.
Thank you, Rajashri. Now I would like to invite Dr. Divya S. Iyer, IAS, MD Vizhinjam International Seaport for the inaugural address.
Good evening, dear members, on and off the days. This, I think, is my second time coming to the art inside this forum. But we've all met each other outside the confines of this room many times in the last decade or so. This gives me a sense of pride. In fact, I should say that I'm very smug about being here to lead the officialdom and talking the language that we neighbors usually do, because I belong to Vizhinjam and well, as very well knows, and being birds of the same feather and working together for the development of the city, of our own place, definitely gives us a sense of belongingness, if nothing else. And that we have all united together to actually change the face of Trivandrum, or Thiruvananthapuram, as we endearingly call it, for the good, to present a better city for the future generations, is in fact laud-worthy. I'm so happy and glad that we have a dedicated set of personnel as well as a dedicated space wherein brainstorming happens, wherein the implementation happens, wherein the evaluation happens, and in a nutshell, carrying forward of the city actually originates in places like this, in hubs like this, in groups like this. And this definitely is a great example to every other set of professionals in the city to work beyond the confines of our own individual interests and our own selfish goals and objectives, to think and work beyond for the rest of the city and for the rest of the world. So congratulations to each one of you, and thank you so much for having us over here to have an evening chat over Vizhinjam International Seaport and the plethora of possibilities that Vizhinjam International Seaport is opening to all of us across the globe. Today, as I stand before you, in fact, we actually spent the last couple of hours together over a milestone achievement in the journey of Vizhinjam International Seaport today. We have both agreed that we shall have no legal impediments which would slow down the journey and development of the port. And we are ready to join hands together and work committedly and dedicatedly towards the development of the port within the shortest span of time possible. And to have that kind of understanding with your partner in a project itself is a huge blessing. So, we are extremely glad to have a partner with one of the finest and more importantly, one of the most meticulous private groups that one could ever come across in this project. That is one thing which probably in our personal conversations are not mentioned to him, but the level of meticulousness to which each of the items is dealt with, each activity is dealt with, is really commendable. And I think when it comes to operationalizing a project or an endeavor like the port, like the seaport, we all think of, when we imagine a seaport, when people ask me out of curiosity as to how far has the Vizhinjam port developed, the first image that comes in front of them, or first image that flashes in front of your eyes, are humongous cranes and huge boats and vessels and seafarers, and this whole larger than life image is what flashes in front of everybody's eyes. Because the sheer scale of activity is huge, and it's wide and it's deep. So it's got so many dimensions to it that everybody thinks of humongous, huge, big, enormous. Actually, the growth to that height is possible only if the finest of details are attended to. Only if the level of meticulousness, as I mentioned, is adhered to throughout the project. And that is why I specifically congratulate the team who's actually on the field, on the side, who ensure that day in and day out, the activities carried out are well serious. Now, what does this larger than life image translate into for the common man? That is a question everybody wants an answer to, right? In fact, let me share an anecdote. When it was announced that I would take over as the MD of Vizhinjam International Seaport while I was the district collector in Calcutta, as one may imagine, I did receive a lot of congratulatory calls and compliments that. So many people told me that it's going to be the biggest challenge of your career. Some of them did discourage me, saying that it is in a big, sorry for using that word, but it is in a big mess right now because of a lot of legal, conundrums and all of that, and it's going to be very difficult to, sort of untie all the knots and get it going. So I had my own fair share of people pushing me forward and backward and pulling me backwards. So, but across the board, one thing that everybody was keen on was to figure out about employment opportunities that the Vizhinjam International Seaport would offer. So much so that when I actually took charge as the MD of Vizhinjam International Seaport, so between the announcement and taking charge, there might have been around 10 days for the shifting and the joining time and all of that put together. Within that span of time, I had actually received more than 25 letters in my name in the office from people, from strangers who had sent me their resume, for considering for a job opportunity in Seaport. I had to send them back regret letters at that point of time stating that we are not, unfortunately, we're not employing anyone right now, but yes, your resume would not go into the bin. That is the only thing I could promise. When the time comes, when we actually look out for personnel, please do apply again. That is the only promise I could give at that point of time. So I don't think when we actually take over as the director of any other department, would we be greeted with such a set of letters. But So that really told me as to what the common man is looking for in the building world. And I'm here to tell you, and I'm sure Mr. Jha would elaborate upon it much more, that it is employment opportunities in its true sense, like sending me or sending the resume, seeking employment in the home sector. Employment opportunities is I would say probably 10% of all the opportunities that the entire world is going to open up. So what we need to do right now is to get across to the public, to get across to the common man, that getting an employment in the port, as a daily wages personnel is not what he or she should dream of. The dreams should be much beyond that. And I'm not blaming them for seeking out that opportunity, because we have not, as a community, we have not told the common man what are the opportunities that the port is going to open. So I'm seeking your help in this whole process to get it across to the common man as to what are the possibilities that one could dream of and what are the targets that one could set once the port gets operationalized. And with great pride, we would like to let you know that this is the year, 2024 is the year when Vizhinjam International Seaport would be commissioned. And that by no means is a small feat, and we are extremely grateful to every single person who has contributed to this humongous effort directly and indirectly. Now, let me just tell you, three major gateways into the port before I wrap up. One, as we all mentioned, and as we all look forward to, the direct employment opportunities within the port itself. So currently, obviously, we are having people and personnel in the construction and engineering sector who are coming. But once we commission the port, we would definitely have the direct employment opportunities, which I'm sure Mr. Jha would take care of and would tell you also as to what it opens up for the local communities here. Second, we are also looking at trying to create a cohesive and a comprehensive community development program along with the development of the port. Again, both the parties in the project have been working hand in hand in trying to make it as inclusive as possible, with the kind of livelihood compensation that we have been providing, with the kind of employment opportunities that have already been provided to some of the local people there, with also a skill park which is coming up in Vizhinjam, which has been spearheaded by SAP from the government of Kerala side, and which would be, the training would be given by the Adani themselves for various jobs that would be offered within the port as such. So we are trying to include as many local people into it as possible. Plus, development of local community infrastructures, like enhancement of the facilities in the hospitals, in the schools, and in the common areas and the roads, bringing in drinking water, giving them, residential complexes. In fact, we have an apartment complex that is coming up there. And for those who would not be rehabilitated there, trying to give them money in order to ensure that they are not rendered landless or houses. So accommodating the fishermen folk or the fishermen community is viewed as a part of the developmental process in the Vizhinjam area. And that would definitely go hand in hand and side by side with the project as such. So by the time we actually start commissioning the project, we would have ensured that no family in the vicinity of Vizhinjam area
would be rendered helpless. So, it involves multiple rounds of negotiations, it involves multiple rounds of convincing people that, we are going to take you on board. But at the end of all of that, what I find so heartwarming is the fact that, as people in Trivandrum, I'm sure all of you would have looked at the various protests that might have emanated from that place, and how we have to go in for negotiations and settlement, and how the police station was attacked and all of that. When you actually wipe out all those thorns, at the core, I find that these are the people who actually believe in the Vizhinjam more the most, more than anybody else who have been looking at it from far away. People who have been looking at it from far away have had their own set of apprehensions, whether this will become a reality, whether this will not, what is going to stop, what is not, and so many questions arising out of their heads. But these are the people who are actually stationed there, who know for a fact that this is becoming a reality. Not only because they see it and they view it and they monitor it and they evaluate it day by day, hour by hour, and they know that it's happening. Okay? Not only because of that, but also because of the deep convictions and the beliefs that they have rooted within them. There are people who are friends of the ocean. There are people who believe in the ocean, who worship the ocean, and they can never be anything but for the ocean. In fact, last time when I went for their church festival, Our Lady of Good Voyage Church, they were narrating. So I asked them why this name. The church is called Lady of Good Voyage Church. Sindhu Yatra Madhav, that's what they call it, Madhav. So I asked them why is it called Sindhu Yatra Madhav. It's a rather uncommon name, right? You don't hear names like that for churches. So they said, well, the Spanish seafarers years ago, or rather centuries ago, the legend goes that the Spanish seafarers, when they came into this side of the ocean, at one point of time, they were completely lost. And they didn't know where to go. They were literally in the middle of the sea. And at that point of time, they had an idol of Mother Mary with them. And they decided that they would sit and pray to Mother Mary, and then they floated this idol. They dropped the idol into the water. And they saw that the idol of Mother Mary floated on the ocean, and it started moving in a certain direction. And they completely, followed the track or the direction that was shown by the floating idol of Mother Mary. And it is said that they safely landed in the shores. And that is where they actually dug the church of the Lady of Good Voyage. So this is a belief that actually guides them through every single challenge that they have in their life. We all get trapped in various situations in our lives where we feel as if we are in the middle of the sea. We have absolutely no clue what to do, where to go. And that is the time we turn to God, is what they do. And this is so rooted in their daily lives that for them, ocean is everything that life could offer them. Ocean is everything that they could dream of. So looking at it and absorbing the emotions and sentiments from that aspect, now they're convinced that we are here to add more value to the ocean. We are here to build upon their beliefs as well, and not to destroy it. And once they're convinced of that, I think there is no issue of protest or disagreement over the larger objectives. Of course, the finer details will be sorted out as time goes by. But as I mentioned, so getting people from amongst their midst to actually work with us in the port is going to be an asset for us as well. So, community development, when we talk about, it is not only about providing them with resources, it is also about adding value to our project. That's why I mentioned that it's going to be hand in hand. Because you might be able to teach the skill to somebody, but the spirit of worship to the ocean is not something you can teach to someone who's going to come from outside. People there have that spirit within them. And it is for us to garner that and use it to the advantage of the board as well. So community development definitely is one sector where we are looking for support from other players and stakeholders as well. Because we have something around 35,000 people there around us we cater to. So obviously, giving employment to all of them is not going to be a feasible option from the government sector alone or from the Adani group alone. So we are definitely looking at skill development programs and cooperating programs from other stakeholders as well. And that is definitely one area where we can hold hands together at this stage of the development of the port. Now, the third chapter that I wanted to mention to you, or the third major gateway, which I'm sure all of you are more interested in, is the allied industries or the hinterland development as we call it. The auxiliary and ancillary industries around the port sector is something that we are in the stage of creating the blueprint. In fact, today afternoon when we were talking, we were talking about Shrima and how you had given, a facelift to the dreams of every Trivandrumite as far as development goes. So we would definitely be happy to welcome your ideas and suggestions for the allied development of the areas around the port. I would just throw in some nuggets at you. I would just throw some darts at you, which you may catch and elaborate upon and brainstorm and get back to us with more concrete proposals in that aspect. So one of the things that we are definitely looking at, so once the port gets on, obviously the first and the most important aspect will be connectivity of the port. So we are going ahead with the land acquisition, and which is definitely well within its way right now after a delay of several months and years. Now we are on board with that. So once the road connectivity and possibly the rail connectivity also comes through, we are also talking with Coastal Railway for that. So once these two come across, we need to have the industrial hub in and around Vizhinjam Port. So it is definitely interlinked with the developments around Outer Ring Road and the activities that have been carried out by the Capital Region Development Authority this year as well. So, the idea of port-related industries might be alien to the common man in Trivandrum for obvious reasons, but it's important for us to have a solid blueprint before we actually move. There would be various concerns and issues in that front. One, for every development project in Kerala, the first thing that we all would jump at would be availability of land. Land being the probably the most scarce resource and the most lucrative resource for us in Kerala. So we are trying to look at various models of land pooling that might be available for us to actually work around with the landowner and the government and the developer. So, how do we form the equation amongst these three parties in the most conducive manner for development, in which neither of them are at a loss, So that is one thing that we are working at. We would definitely welcome your ideas in for that. And what are the kind of industries that we want around? Now, the model that we are developing currently is not an exhaustive model. Okay? It is an illustrative model that we are developing currently. To explain, we are actually trying to develop a modular set of industries, say for something like 200 acres. If you have 200 acres, what are the kind of industries you would want in that, and how is it that you're going to factor in the various resources in terms of land, in terms of investment, in terms of diversification of industries, in terms of labor, in terms of human resources, etc.
So once you do that, and then you could scale it to as many modules as you want. So that is the model that we want to follow because as you know, unlike certain other ports or other projects, the hinterland development has not been envisioned prior to the dream or prior to the envisioning of the port. So we do not know if we are dealing with 25,000 acres of land to support the port, or we are dealing with 5,000 acres of land to support the port, or 2,000 acres of land to support the port. And that is the reason, to be honest, we are working in a modular fashion wherein we can actually scale it up. And in Kerala, as you know, once nothing tastes sweeter than success here when it comes to investment, because there's already a lot of bad breath about investing in Kerala, especially for for the smaller entrepreneurs. So we want to show that it would be possible and it would be suitable for investors to actually come to Kerala and invest in and around the Middle Port. So that is another area where we would definitely welcome your suggestions and your interventions also. And just to tell you, the kind of industries that we would be looking at. Again, when you look at other models as to what all is happening across the country and across the globe, Adani themselves have got a green hydrogen hub in Mundra. So, this is the time when green shipping is actually becoming the in thing with Government of India as well. So Government of India is about to just bring about the norms and conditions and mandates for green shipping. And if we could actually turn Vizhinjam International Seaport into a green shipping spot and make it a green shipping hub, we could have the early bird advantage as well. We could actually dictate the norms as well. So that is definitely one area where we are focusing our energies on, whether it be green hydrogen, whether it be methanol, whether it be renewable energy sources. That is definitely one area that we are looking at. And of course, for the smaller players, say when you look at Security Foreign Port, they're coming up with a furniture hub, right? If I'm not mistaken. So there is a furniture hub that they are coming up with across the Tuticorin port to support the port and to provide employment for workers. So in Kerala, where we are talking with a lot of players in the market, there is one area which goes in with the ethos of Kerala, which personally I was drawn to, which was the packaging industry. In the era of e-commerce today, e-commerce is not something that is going to wither away in the next decade or so. It is only going to be on the rise, wherein packaging has become the key vantage point of any product right now. So, for example, if you can actually bring in a packaging hub in and around the port, obviously getting items and products into the containers and out of the containers and getting it out to the retail market will have different modes of packaging, right? So each one of that could be catered to in a different fashion, in a customized fashion. And I meant when it goes with Kerala ethos, we could actually look at green packaging as a USP for Kerala and come up with various models of green packaging in the era of e-commerce as well as that is something which every industry, every other product would actually love to have as an add-on or a value addition to operating from your port. So these are the kind of industries that we're actually looking at, which would actually add more value to the port sector as a whole than any industry which would work anywhere else across the country. The geographical location of the industry, if it can work synergistically with the port, that would definitely be a win-win situation for all. The food processing is another industry, which would have a great value addition to the port as well as the food processing industry. Because when it's closer to the port, of course, the conveyance time does matter in an industry like food processing. So I don't want to give you an exhaustive list, but I just want to set your brains thinking as to what are the directions that you ought to be thinking about? And, hopefully, let us all make this a huge success, not just in terms of the revenue or the profit, but also about adding value to people's lives in and around our own Trivandrum and across the globe. So thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. And hopefully we'll be able to work it out, integrating all the inputs that I received from you as well. So thank you all, and I declare this open.
Thank you, Ivana. Now I would like to invite Mr. Rajesh Shah, our beloved past president at VMA, MD CEO of Adani Vizhinjam Port, for the special address. Mr. Rajesh Shah is currently the MD CEO of Adani Vizhinjam Port Private Limited, which is responsible for the development and operation of Vizhinjam International Deepwater Multipurpose Seaport at Trivandrum. He is also the director of Mundra Solar Private Limited. Mr. Shah is a BE in metallurgy from IIT Roorkee. He started his career with Tata Steel. His previous assignments before this was Aditya Birla Group as MD and CEO. He was the vice chairman of CII Odisha for 2013-14. He was awarded Udyog Ratna Award in the year 2009, chaired by Honorable Prime Minister. This award was in recognition to his contribution towards planning and execution of mega projects in steel and aluminum. Sir, we invite you for the special address on this day.
Thank you, Jayshree. Thank you, Suresh, for your kind words. Ragashri has been doing an excellent work, and my association with TMA has been very, very emotional. I'll tell you why. But let me first wish you all my greetings on National Management Day. To all of you, this is something that we do to make the world a better place to live in. When I came in 2018, I was told that you have come to Kerala, God's own country. But after spending a few years in Trivandrum, I felt that no, I have come to God's own city. And out of all the cities that I have done projects, I really find Trivandrum to be a gifted city. Why? Because all across the country, you will not find a city where you have an international seaport, you have international airport, and the main sea route, trade route, which carries something like 30 to 40% of the global traffic. So it is a very busy route. And that all within a distance of 15 to 20 kilometers. This is a very unique combination. And it is very surprising that it took us so long, but good that we are right. I'm a sandwich speaker. Dr. Vidya has given a lot of credits for wisdom, and she told you that today was a very momentous day. We decided to have a legal handshake. So we decided that we'll fight with each other, not in the court of law. So it is a great day today. I'll show you some of the pictures. Because Sunil has a detailed presentation, and he will cover practically all the aspects that Dr. Vidya has raised, and more so that in terms of CSR, this is a unique project where at the project stage, typically when you hear about CSR spending, normally you say,
Thank you, Divya ma'am. Please give her a round of applause. Becoming over here, thank you.
so normally when you talk of CSR, at the project stage, we do very, very customary CSR. Normally we say that 2% of the profit of the company should be allocated for CSR. But at the project stage, where is the problem? But you'll be surprised to know that till today, in the last 5 years or so, we have spent something like 65 crore in capacity building, in skill upgradation, in trying to promote the health, education, scholarship to students. So, in fact, we have tried to cover the complete spectrum of the population by our CSR activities. But what I would like to show you, because you'll be able to visually imagine that what was 2018 in Vizhinjam and what is Vizhinjam in 2024. Can I have the picture, please? So, you all know that 2018 we had a cyclone Oki, 54 people lost their life, and it was a very serious rough sea condition that we faced. Then after that, we had super flood in 2018. I was told that it was once in 100 years. And then, we had high waves. And finally, because of that, both the approaches that was connecting to the jetty, both the approaches was cut by the sea waves. It was eaten away. And people who were working on the jetty, they were marooned. We had to rescue them by the Coast Guard boat. This is what Vizhinjam used to look like in 2018. Next picture. You can see the platform toppled down. All the rock that we had placed was either taken away by the sea or disturbed. Next. We had to practically rebuild whatever we had done in 2015 December, 2016, 2017 was practically lost in the sea. Again, you require sometimes, and I was told that there were many attempts, lot of bids, lot of people came and they tried to do something, but it requires the real willpower, sheer willpower to do a long gestation project like this. Because whatever you cannot imagine, that will happen. We never imagined that we'll be hit by cyclone Oki. We never imagined that we'll have super flood. We never imagined that we'll have next year again, we'll have severe flood. And then 2020, we had mother of all problems, that is pandemic. So practically, we never had a straight line. It was always that we were born into difficulty and we had to struggle. But in spite of that, I'm really very happy, and Sunil will show you the details. And I want to show you some pictures because I do understand that there is paucity of time. And like a Sandy, the speaker, you are squeezed from both the sides. So I'm being squeezed by Dr. Vidya and Sunil on either side. So I want to show you as to what Vizhinjam looks like today. Next. So this is the breakwater. You can see all the cranes, ship-to-shore cranes, yard cranes. Next. A closer view of all the cranes. And this is the first semi-automatic or most automatic port in the country. These equipment that you see is something like 1,600 tons each. So it is quite a sea. The height of the crane is something like 110 meters. And when the boom up, it is something like 140 meters. So it is something like 40-story building you can see on the jetty. Moving. Next. This is how the switchyard, that is main one, which Suresh Kumar was saying that he contributed, and he did contribute to connect and empower Vizhinjam Seaport with 220 kV line. He played a major role. This switchyard looks like that this 220 kV is in a garden. That is how Vizhinjam has not only become more silent, more cooperative, more beneficial, and much more beautiful. With these few words, I would say that Trivandrum really is a gifted city, and we will make Trivandrum and Vizhinjam live for each other. Because this is a journey for 100 years. This is not a journey for 5 years. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Before going on to the presentation, I'd like to request Rajesh Shah, sir, for distributing the prizes to the management day quiz winner of today. Marigonians College got the first prize. Other state competition. I'd like to invite the representatives of Marigonians College to receive the prize. Ashraf, Viveka Anand and Anuja SS. Congratulations. They did very well and got 75 out of 150. The second prize goes to IMK, Institute of Management in Kerala. That is Ramnath Arjun, Sugamila and Kima V. Kauman, representing IMK. They are very close to first, they got 65 marks. Thank you, sir. Now we are moving on to the presentation on Adani Vizhinjam Port. I would like to invite past secretary DMA, head of projects Adani Vizhinjam Road. Sunil Kumari is a practicing infrastructure specialist with 21 years of quality experience in all phases of infrastructure. He is a graduate in civil engineering and postgraduate diploma in management from Management Development Institute. In the current assignment, he heads the project development for the Adani Vizhinjam Port Private Limited. In the past, he has been associated with large public sector enterprise infrastructure companies, consulting firms, and state financial institutions. In his consulting role, he served as consultant to World Bank and ADB. His sectoral experience covers power, transport, and urban sectors. Over to Mr. Sunil Kumar A.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you to PMA for giving the opportunity today to introduce our project, how the project is shaping those things, and how the business opportunities are evolving. I would like to thank past presidents, all PMA MC members who are here to attend this session, taking interest in the Vizhinjam and attending the session. Of course, today is the occasion of we celebrating Management Day. Management is meant to make people's life more easier or more comfortable. So with that, the same way, ports also serve the purpose of making life more easier or more comfortable for the humanity. So ports also have a bigger role in the economy making of the countries. So in the first few slides, I will be covering. My task is to present the project and to present the business opportunities. Business opportunities, earlier Mr. Rajesh Shah and Ms. Divya Iyer has already covered in much detail. So I may not be touching much to the business opportunities, though I will be briefly touching upon. But I would be touching about the salient features, how the project evolved, and what are the key features of it. So coming to the importance of the project, I would say that it is a major economic, it is the most biggest economic infrastructure project of the state. Why I am saying is that the emphasis on is on the economic thing. Everybody believes that maybe because of the port user charges and those things, people believe that port is a financial infrastructure because it generates revenue and it actually confines, the effect is confined only to the port area. But it is not so. It is just like a road. It is an economic infrastructure which gives multitude of benefits to the society other than the port developer. Port developer may be getting the financial returns, but the society and the larger country gets the benefit of the entire port developer. So, if you see about the business opportunities which are emerging out of a port, they are all economic benefits which are larger benefits, larger than the financial benefits which are generally accrue to the port developer or the government. But for the entire public or for the entire country, it is actually the economic benefit it is generating. So it is the largest economic infrastructure in the city. Earlier, we used to write that it is one of the largest private sector investment in the state. But now I am saying it is the largest private sector investment in the state. Thanks to a commitment made by our senior management as well as the decision taken by government and the team led by VSL. We are now going to augment our capacity by another 3 million container capacity. Now we are at 1 million container capacity. We will be augmenting it to another 4 million by 5 million container capacity, increasing the work length to 2 kilometers. So we will be investing another 10,000 crores. So with that investment of 10,000 crores, Vizhinjam will be the largest private sector investment in the country. So till last week I was writing that it is one of the largest. That is why it's writing out and now it is the largest private sector investment. Coming to the genesis of the project, you may all know that as our chairman said that this has been in a dream for many long period. But in 2015 only it realized in the bid form realized, and Adani got there as a successful bidder. And in 2015 we signed the concession agreement for the project. Subsequently, on 17th August 2015, concession agreement was signed, and on December 2015, the construction work started. Coming to this is a true story which has been told many times, but for the benefit of the audience, I will be briefly touching upon why Vizhinjam. The answer to the question why Vizhinjam is there are many factors, geographical, natural, strategic, many factors are. And one of the most important strategic factor is it's the closeness to shipping. As our CEO earlier told, 40% of the container volume, the world's container volume of ship travel uses the two prominent Far East Mediterranean shipping route and East-West shipping. Vizhinjam is a location which is blessed with the closeness to the international shipping route, which makes it the most important location for making a transshipment. Then why transshipment? The answer to the question why transshipment is that Ministry of Shipping, recently I have got the figures from Ministry of Shipping. Ministry of Shipping recently published a document now, it's called Vision 2047, Maritime Vision 2047. According to the document, India's container volume is something around 17 million containers, 17 million TEUs, of which about 4.5 million TEUs, about 25% is transshipping. And about that, and of which about 3 million TEUs, or 2.5, roughly 2.5 to 3 million TEUs are transshipped outside India at this point of time. Mainly, it is transshipped in Colombo, Singapore, and Port of Ceylon, and other ports in Middle East. Yearly, according to the estimate made by Planning Commission and Ministry of Shipping, the losses which are accruing to the Indian economy is something around 1,800 crores. So the country needs a transshipment port, and Vizhinjam is the natural choice for for developing a transshipment. So thus comes Vizhinjam as a strategic port, as a strategic location, and a strategic geographically close location, which makes Vizhinjam the choice destination for development of a transshipment. In the maritime mission, Vizhinjam has also been identified as the immediate priority of the country. So can anybody guess what would be the not only the immediate priority, it is a necessity, but also in long term also Vizhinjam is required. Why? Because can anybody guess what the China's transshipment capacity would be? China's transshipment capacity, while India is only 17 million TEU. And China is somewhere 20 times ahead of us. It is around 250 million TEUs they are handling in India. So with the industrialization growing, India may not be reaching at the level of 250, but India would be definitely 5 times or 6 times than the current capacity at this point of time. with that kind of industrialization happening in the country. So transshipment is going to be a big requirement of the nation, and the country will be using. Though now they're losing the figures which we are losing is 1,800 crores. In the coming years, it may be more than 10,000 crores with the kind of traffic growing in the region and industrialization. So Vizhinjam is a necessity. It has been reiterated many times. I'm just putting the numbers to make it very clear. So coming to the other important features, coast of the international shipping route, then it is centrally located on the Indian coastline, it is having a natural depth, and of course, since we are not in the estuary, we are having minimal littoral drift, which means we have zero cost or almost negligible cost for maintenance dredging. That makes Vizhinjam a most competitive port. Unlike ports in estuaries which are having large cost for maintenance dredging, we don't have such a large cost for maintenance dredging. We are, as a port, since we being an automated port, we are a world-class future-ready port, and we can operate all weather, all season. So that makes as a choice for transshipment. Since we being in the tip of the peninsula and closer to all the shipping routes, we will be an ideal location for further interest. Coming to the salient features, I will be briefly touching up. In the phase one, we are developing a 800-meter berth. So till now, I have been telling all the advantages of Vizhinjam. There are some disadvantages. We are, unlike the other ports which are having a natural harbor, we are prone to open sea action and sea wave action. So we need to create an artificial structure, artificial harbor for the tranquil sea. So that has to be constructed by 70 lakh metric ton huge rock structure called breakwater. And that is the structure which posed the highest challenges. As Mr. Rajesh said, this was a very tremendous task, and only a company as Madam Divya said, as a company as meticulous as Adani could do within such a short time. So with the 3-kilometer breakwater was a very big challenge, considering the resource constraints in the region and also considering the climatic challenges and the challenge posed by COVID. So this was completed. About the 3-kilometer breakwater, we have already finished 2.9 kilometers till now. And in the second phase, we will be creating another 1 kilometer of breakwater. The total length of breakwater will be something around 3.9 to 4 kilometers. And in the subsequent phases, we will be making another 1.2 kilometers of berth, which means the total cumulative berth length will be 2 kilometers with a port handling capacity of something around 5 million TEUs. Though the nameplate capacity will be 3 million TEUs, with the advanced level of automation we are having, we will be able to handle 5 million TEUs. So even the growth of with the growth of industrialization, we believe that we could be able to handle some of the major transshipment requirement of the country. This I have already explained. 800-meter berth, we are having 2.9 kilometer berth. We did huge dredging and reclamation. Whatever the area which you are seeing beneath the berth, it has been created out of reclaiming from the sea. Only being Kerala being a land-starved state, the land available for port was very minimal. So most of the backup facilities were created out of the land which is reclaimed from sea. So we had huge reclamation. Government is already planning a rail connectivity, a 10.2 kilometer rail connectivity. Our total ground stores at a time we can store 35,000 containers, 7,500 on ground, and above which 5 layers can be placed, so 37,000, and it roughly translates to 1 million containers in a year. That roughly translates to our capacity, annual capacity will be something around 1 million TEU. In the inner channel, we will be having a depth of 18.7 meter, 18.4 meter, and in the outer channel, we will be having a depth of 20.8 meter. We have an automated port gate components. Our electrical facilities, again, we have a dedicated transmission line which has been provided by Government of Kerala. Thanks to our chairman as well for facilitating that in the earlier stages. Totally KV, and we also have an internal substation which step down from further 33 to 70. We have the most modern container handling equipment. We have 8 rail mounted gateways and 24 number gantry cranes within the yard. The progress I have already touched upon. We are almost in the verge of completing the breakwater. Container berth out of the 800-meter berth filing is being completed for all the 800-meter. 400-meter berth is now ready with all the equipments. Balance 400-meter now is under construction. Retting and reclamation is also 95% completed. Only a minor push is now waiting. Other works are also in advanced stages of completion, where the substation, everything has been completed. Port Trussels Road, we have completed 1.90% work of 1.7 kilometer of Port Trussels Road has been completed. Only the intersection part is now pending. Government is now accelerating the land acquisition, after which that will also be completed. And coming to the rail part, government has already entrusted Konkan Rail Corporation for taking forward the construction of rail line. In another 4 years, rail line will also be in place. Rail line and road together will be roughly handling 15% of the total container capacity of the port. Something around 1.5 lakh containers would be exit cargo, which are generated from the region of Kerala and Tamil Nadu, or maybe other regions also, which are shipped from this port as gateway. Coming to the progress, this Honorable CM and Honorable then Port Minister, Honorable Finance Minister receiving the first ship on October 15. These are the glimpses of the vessels which now arrived. The first one is the vessel with the 3 yard cranes and one ship to shore crane. The second vessel, one yard ship to shore crane, then 6 yard cranes in the third vessel, and the fourth vessel with the 2 shore cranes and the ballast yard cranes. So today, and as of now, there are 4 ship to shore cranes and 11 yard cranes which are present in the site. But in the subsequent cases, after the 400-meter berth is also ready, we will be having 8 numbers ship to shore crane and 24 number yard. So it's a glimpse of current progress. Breakwater. You can visually see the progress which has been made till date. There are some glimpses of the breakwater. Bird's eye view. Breakwater of the breakwater. This is substation. Workshop will take. This is the port operation building from where the entire port will be operating. This is the road, Port Access Road, which connects the port to the highway. These are the 4 vessels which visited the port during the month of October and November and December. Not only vessels, not only equipments, we need some advanced vessels for operation of the ports. We need more tugs. They are already there. We need one pilot cum survey vessel that is also there. Other vessels like mooring launches and other navigation aids are in the final stages of procurement. They will be by any time reaching us. So within targeting or commissioning between any time between May and December, these equipments will be in place soon. Coming to the port-induced emerging business opportunities, I haven't filled anything because the opportunities are very best. It is the port. Why I haven't filled it is that it is random to decide about the opportunities which is actually going to come out of this. Why? Because that maybe Narayan sir may be remembering in 2018 when he was chair of CAA. We conducted a seminar on the port-induced opportunities, leveraging Vizhinjam. What would be the opportunities? We discussed almost 2 days, and at that point of time, it was decided. It was the forum agreed on some of the key industries, which Madam Divya also elaborated. That we will be benefiting. The industry around us will be benefiting mostly by the port-induced competitiveness generating out of the port. Our industry will be very much benefiting, and government is already having good plans for developing the outer ring area along the outer growth corridor along the outer ring road. So when the outer ring road is coming, it is going to give a plethora of opportunities for the investors, for the management community, and for the environmental people. It is big opportunities which await us. So according to all the economic studies, generally a port generates X number of employment. But in our case, it is something around 650. The port generates 650 employments inside the port. Something around 3 times is generated indirectly outside the port. And the port induced industrialization is furthermore. Port induced industrialization will be in the multiple of 10. Port induced industrialization and the employment will be in the multiple of 10. So we are randomist with the kind of industrialization which it can, with the potential which it can have. If the enabling infrastructure like land, industrial parks, those are ready, then it can have that effect of 10 multiplier effect and take the opportunities further. So with that, I'm finishing the presentation. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. We are now at the question and answer session. If anybody of you have wanted to ask something, you can.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation. You yourself mentioned that we were looking at what are the sectors for growth. But I feel that we are missing the bus. Because the pace at which, the pace of the port development is very fast. But we should have started thinking about the other infrastructure if the industries have to come up. Maybe 2-3 years back. And even now, I think that, and we have to look at it in a practical manner now. Because any development, we know the condition of the government, state government. The ring road was suggested also many years back, but the pace at which it is going to happen is very slow. So probably the only possible solution would be to invite large private sector investment. And then, for example, if we approach the Singapore government companies like Temasek and all that, who has large capital to invest. So we should join with such organizations like Singapore. Singapore has the best expertise in this industrial development connected with the port. So in this high time, I wish that Divya was here, but I was surprised that she left because we wanted to put in these ideas so that we can still accelerate this development. And also look at sectors. You can't have everything under the sun to have so we have to look at specific sectors, which are the sunrise industries, and industries which need much of land. So that is again why I'm harping on this Singapore development. Because Singapore is an almost similar situation. Singapore doesn't have much of land, but still they have managed to capture the development and then progress. So we should look at the Singapore model and then see how we can quickly implement. Otherwise, the danger is, the entire benefit will go to Tamil Nadu. We could develop all the roads and all that. The entire economic activity will be done by Tamil Nadu because it's just 20 kilometers, across the border, and they have a lot of land. And the climate also is much more, investor friendly. So this is a serious thing which I wanted to put it across to the government, but I don't know whether they will listen or again we will miss the bus like all what is happening in there.
Any other question?
It's a valid point, right? It's a valid point. You need the enabling infrastructure, particularly land, ready for the development for taking benefit out of the food. That is essential. Narayan sir made a very good point, a valid point, that the enabling infrastructure like land or road or very much essential at the point of time. So the government is, I agree that there was a bit of delay in the beginning, but with the port coming up so far, I believe that the road will also be coming fast, and along the road, the corridor will also be covered.
The real issue is the money, so you need.
That is there, but maybe in the that part only government may be investing, and maybe in the other investment side, they may be investing private partners, PPP. So, but essentially, all the part of your question cannot be answered by me. It's a question for the government side.
And the Vizhinjam internal becomes operational. It will grow over. Huge business opportunities for Kerala. A dream come true project for Kerala. I would like to know when the seaport becomes operational, whether it will be the first mother seaport in India. They have made a project in India. We make clarification point.
It is not the first transshipment port in India, but it will be the first deep water transshipment. So, if you answer your question, this is the first transshipment port with the capacity, with the capability to handle mother vessels on above the size of 18,000. This is the first. But ports like the Mundra have the capacity to handle mother vessels. Transshipment port, even Kochi is also a transshipment port, but Kochi will not be able to handle mother vessels of this size.
Actually, the Vizhinjam port as well as the outer area of the port, in which both projects are, I mean, the part of it, quite a lot involved. So, what regarding the preparation for the port, the outer area of the port, 440 square kilometer area has been mapped very detailed, and there are two legislations are going to come, that is under the Special Investment Region Act, and another one is the land board. So we have preparation wise, we are very way ahead, and it's only the legislative part which has to put the assembly and get it passed. And it will take some, otherwise the preparation part, master development plan is complete, and it is along the outer ring road, which it is passing through the around the and all the area which can be developed and which cannot be developed, all very detailed. So in that way, the preparations are very good. But only thing, the investment part for down road, we have planned for 70 meter wide road, but the Kerala government does not support that much. The national highway is only interested in 45 meters. So there are so many other things. Otherwise, in the land boarding act goes far faster, then I am sure a lot of the issues can be sorted out, and the land resources also will be managed. Thank you.
What about the goods terminal? Are you planning a goods terminal?
Goods terminal in the first phase it is not planned, but in the subsequent phases there will be work along the breakwaters. Depending upon the business audience, it will be considered at the subsequent, but not in the first.
I'd like to raise something that's very important. See, we are talking about the port getting ready very shortly in a couple of months. But there's a critical issue here, which I think is nobody is spelling the cat. Nobody wants to know who will spell it. It's a problem. One is, what about the compound wall? You have not built a compound wall. Without a compound wall, you are going to have a lot of trespassing by the local officials. And nobody wants to touch it. Now the elections are around the corner. Now, political parties not touch. Number one, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to wait till the port gets ready? Because you'll be caught, you'll be kept a ransom by these guys. One. Number two, what about the cross which is there in the sea, which is impeding the operations? The cross has to be relocated. Nobody's addressing that. Why neither Dr. Divya also talked about it, neither you are talking about it. I mean, this is something that's worrying us because from the Chamber of Commerce, we are talking about this so many times. I brought it to your notice also. I think it's high time that you take up this issue before it gets into a mess, because we have done everything. And then the whole thing will get delayed the very moment you touch the compound wall, and also you try to relook at the cross. Would you like to? Yeah.
Raghu, it is a very genuine concern that you have, and we have been living with this concern for the last 2 years. But you'll be very happy to know that we have just completed the temporary fencing as of today. And so by and large, the port is insulated from the visitors. But we do have to relocate the cross and the statue, and that also is going at a good pace. These are very sensitive issues, and it requires very careful handling. So it is taking a bit more time, but be sure that it will be done in 3 months' time. Okay.
As we are running short of time, ladies and gentlemen, we will move on to the vote of thanks. I would like to invite Joint Secretary TMA, Mr. Mohan Velayat, for the vote of thanks. Thank you, Mr. Sunil, for your wonderful presentation. Kindly give a round of applause for this wonderful presentation on the Adani report. Yeah.
I have seen this one in a nutshell. I was given an opportunity to be there one day by Mr. Vizhinjam, and I had seen the whole place. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to visit that place. Sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming all the way.
Okay, we are now concluding our session here. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and students, if there are any left here, unless they've gone home. Thank you very much for making it to this fantastic evening, where we got an opportunity to hear from real stalwarts. So let me start thanking Ms. Divya. She has just taken over, Dr. Divya here. But it seems that she has grasped and is already grappling with the issues relating to VIS. And we thank her for giving us a snapshot of what exactly is in store for us in the future for VIS. But coming to the next person, is a great guy called Mr. Rajesh Jha. 5 years into this city, he has transformed this whole port and made it operational this year. Right? It's no mean feat. I think we should give him a big round of applause. We have something in common. We are both metallurgists in Trivandrum, but we don't practice metallurgy. That's a different thing. So hats off to you, sir, and it's been a wonderful journey for you in Trivandrum. Thank you so much. Coming to Mr. Sunil, I think we've got complete detail about Vizhinjam Port. We thank you for that, because sometimes we tend to read certain things in the newspaper which is in bits and pieces. I think you have given us a great idea about what the port is all about. But my guess is that we'll have to do some real hard marketing of the port, because it's at a real vantage position for getting solid cargoes, especially the container side. But my one small request is, if you can speak to the people around, have one berth for the big bulkers. That might be, de-risking the whole port, but that's for the long term. Thank you so much, Mr. Sunil, for your nice presentation. At this point, I will go back to the walkathon, which was there this morning. And it was a wonderful session. I think for the first time, TMA walkathon had a record crowd. Normally, we find 20 to 30 because it's early in the morning, but this time we had a fairly good crowd comprising TMA members as well as students. We had around 50 people, but the whole thing was sponsored by our president, Padma Kumar, as well as Dr. Sardula for the medical camp which we had for the people who participated. It was a great show and we had a fantastic time this morning. Last but not the least, I would like to thank our committee members who are Mr. Suresh Kumar. I mean, he's been outstanding planning. I mean, I've learned a few things of planning from Mr. Suresh during this session. And we have Mr. Setu Madhavan sir, who conducted our quiz this afternoon, this evening. And of course, our student members. Last but not least, I can't thank the President sir and our Secretary ma'am for supporting us through and through this session. Thank you all. If there's not someone, please, madam. Thank you. Come on.